Good morning. Today is the 28th day of February. The time is 9 o'clock. The Board of Commissioners is in session to conduct its weekly open business meeting. All three commissioners are present. If you can introduce yourself for the record, starting over here.
Bonnie Overbillig, Recorder's Office. Second Luther, Recorder's Office.
Sean Rain, Paramedics.
Richard Beck, Development Services.
Bob Carney, Operations.
Josh Leonard, member of the public.
Bob Kirk, Virginia County Procurement.
Josh Brown, Operations.
Jeremiah Cameron, Operations.
Elizabeth Duncan, Communications.
Beth Mon, Treasurer.
Trent Triple Clerk.
An IT guy in the corner. Okay, Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
No changes to the agenda. We have some unfinished business. I'll take a motion to remove unfinished business from the table.
Mr. Chairman, I move to remove the unfinished business from the table for consideration.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, this is a application from Development Services that was tabled to rewrite our findings of fact and conclusions of law. Would you speak to it, Richard?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, yeah, this was an item that you considered at the February 8th public hearing. You did approve this application, but gave us some additional time to update our findings of fact, prepare the development agreement, and as well as an ordinance for the rezone. So those documents have been prepared and are submitted for your consideration.
Yes. I've looked at the documents and I think they're just fine. Is there any other discussion before I close it out?
And for me, I remember the presentation. It was pretty good, and it's not just a gas station. It's kind of like the country store type of gas station, so it'll provide additional services to the neighborhood out there. I thought it was a good idea.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to comment on the question I asked on water. That's a consideration that I think we need to look at in every single application.
Yes. Put a water check mark on that.
Okay. Will do, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the revised findings of fact and conclusions of law and development agreement for application number 202-202-449-ZC-DA-CU-MSP, TO Engineers.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, under new business, we have resolution. I'll open the public hearing on resolution number 2840, resolution for sole source procurement. Is there any discussion? Want to tell us about it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Back in 2018, the Sheriff's Office went through an extensive security system upgrade at the jail for locks and cameras. And this is a continuation of that upgrade. So they're adding more cameras.
Okay, is there any, and we're doing a sole source because,
The vendor that we went with back in 2018, Stanley Convergent and ISR, are the vendors that initially did that installation and would want to continue with that same vendor for warranty purposes.
all right. Is there any further discussion before we proceed? If not, I will close the public hearing on resolution number 2840. And I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve resolution 2840 as listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. All right, now we get to procurement. We have, we'll review the bids received and award recommendation for Public Works project 50 to 200,000 on bid number 23028, Ada County Sheriff's Office vehicle shop roofing.
Yes, so Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, before you this morning is bid 23028, the Ada County Sheriff's Office Vehicle Shop Roof Replacement 2023. And we received 4 responses for this project, and we'd like to submit this letter of the bids received and an award recommendation for your consideration.
Maybe you can read the letter for the record.
I'd be happy to read the letter.
Thank you.
Letter dated February 28, 2023 to the Board of Ada County Commissioners from Ada County Procurement regarding bid 23028. Dear members of the board, Ada County Procurement received 4 responses for bid 23028. The following are the names of the bidders and the bid amount submitted. Bidder number 1 was Upson Company, and they had a bid amount of $131,000. Bidder number 2 was AAA Roofing by Gene, and they had a bid amount of $118,710. The third bidder was Nations Roof Mountain LLC, and they had a total bid amount of $107,650. And bidder number 4, Roman Roofs Incorporated, was non-responsive. So after reviewing the bid submitted, it is the recommendation of the evaluation group to award the contract for bid 23028 to Nations Roof Mountain LLC as the lowest responsive bidder in the amount of $107,650.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the recommendation of the evaluation committee and award bid 23028, Ada County Sheriff's Office Vehicle Shop Roof Replacement 2023 to Nations Roof Mountain LLC in the amount of $107,650.
Okay.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioners.
All right, moving on, we have a number of licenses to take care of. It's 29 or 59 renewals, 2 license transfers, 1 new license, and the catering permit. Is there discussion on that? Is the sheriff's office here?
Yes, Ron.
Oh, okay. Could you tell us on the one you're recommending not approving, could you tell us what your rationale was, and have you worked with them to try to get it resolved?
Yes, Chairman.
Thank you.
So, for Vapes R Us, they've had, essentially there's one of the qualifications that requires that, or says that if you owe any money to Ada County courts, or anyone that either works for you, or is one of the part owners, or is the owner, they can't be, the license should be recommended for denial, or should be denied. In this circumstance, one of the applicants and one of the co-owners of Vapes R Us owes a series of fines and fees for essentially infractions and DUIs. But that's kind of they still owe that money. We've worked with them a couple of different times though, calling and seeing if they're gonna either amend their application or have those fines and fees paid off. At this point, neither of those things have happened.
How'd they amend their application, take their names off the applicant?
And have to be, I'd probably ask to see the ownership changed in some way.
So that would be sufficient if they change the ownership.
If they changed the ownership and the application was changed, just to be honest on
Or
the
pay the
application.
fines and fees.
Or to pay the fines and
I
fees.
thought I read it was only $90 in fees they owe. Is that right?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
Go ahead.
There's a DUI that's outstanding that has been charged and hasn't been convicted on. That's more something we wanted to call out, that there's could be fines and fees associated with that. If they have fines and fees, we would have to maybe come back to the board and say, this application or this licensee now is outside of the qualifications, and leave it up to you to make that decision whether you wanted to amend it or have it changed. So there's 2 court cases that are outstanding, and one of them is just $90, but it's still outstanding.
So they have the pending DUI.
Correct.
But then what they have right now is a $90 ticket.
That's correct.
And
Which they would be qualified if they paid the $90 ticket.
so do they realize that they just have to pay the $90 and that would,
I've spoken
that's
with them
one
on
of
the
the
phone.
impediments of their,
Yes, I've spoken to them on the phone, and
they said they don't want to pay?
they said that they would try getting it figured out, and I believe that was a month ago.
And then in the report it also says that one of them has a warrant out?
It does, at that point when I wrote the letter, it had a warrant. I don't know the actual active stance of that warrant.
Okay.
And that was, I was not able to get them on the phone at that point. At that point, it was a warrant for the DUI, for failure to appear.
Well, it seems to me that if there's an outstanding charge, we can't withhold their license based on until the charge is handled.
That's correct.
Now, we wouldn't need to revisit it if they were convicted and didn't take in, but the outstanding fine that they didn't pay, that's a clear violation of the ordinance.
That's correct, sir.
Okay,
Well, I hope you can remind them again that that's required under the ordinance there. How much does it cost to apply for the license, and when they have to, if we deny it, do they have to reapply after they pay the $90?
So they paid $175, $100 for the wine and $75 for the beer fee. They did apply with us on January 20th, and so we have attempted communication since that point. Generally, if they've already paid that amount, the one other time that we've had a license amended due to charges or having to remove someone from ownership to be able to get the licensing in place, we did not require them to pay again since they had already paid the license amount. So we would follow suit on that since those fees had already been paid. However, it has been very difficult for both offices to get a hold of these applicants.
All right. Well, with that, I would, unless there's anything else, I'm willing to make a motion.
no, I'll accept the motion.
I'd move to deny the new license for Vapes R Us as identified on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. On the balance, the catering permits, the license transfers, and the license renewals. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the remaining licenses as listed on the agenda, including 1 catering permit, 1 new license, 2 new license transfers, and 59 license renewals, and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
Not the new license, we just rejected that.
I think there's one.
No, there's not, no, that's the same.
Okay. I move to approve the remaining licenses as listed on the agenda, including 1 catering permit, 2 license transfers, and 59 license renewals, and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
The new license is different.
Oh, is that different?
Yeah, that's
Vapes.
vapes,
Oh,
not
that's
vapes.
vapes.
But it's.
Okay, you got it right.
I was right the first
Yeah, you're right.
One more time.
They both have vapes in it. Vapes
Yeah.
are us and vapes, excuse me.
All right, one more time. I'll move to approve the remaining licenses as listed on the agenda, including 1 catering permit, 1 new license, 2 license transfers, and 59 license renewals, and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second that motion.
All right, you've heard the motion, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. And now
And
we
if you
have,
communicate if you can ever get a hold of them, just let them know if they want to bring that back, if they pay their fees, then.
Yeah, what their options are available to them.
yeah, we can't withhold the license based on a pending charge. They have to be convicted. Okay, we have with us now our excited clerk.
There's nothing more exciting, Mr. Chairman, about an election, which we're right in the middle of right now out at CUNA. And while it's not a big election, it still requires a lot of energy. So we are, as of 9 a.m. this morning, have received 84 absentee ballots and 35 in-person early voting votes. So it's more than 0, but less than a significant number. So early voting will continue through the 14th, which is election day. And things seem to be going smoothly, other than one small hiccup where we have to take the mobile voting unit out there to supplement the in-person early voting at City Hall at CUNA because they had a previously scheduled event. So for that one day, we'll have mobile voting there. It'll be transparent to the public, hopefully. We're in the middle of gearing up for a budget as well, so busy season for all of our folks, and the new financial system you're well aware of is moving along. We also had our new Assistant Chief Deputy, Heath Raborti, start work yesterday. It was his first day. He's coming to us from the State Controller's Office. Great addition to our office. We're excited for him. We hope to get him up here and meet you all and start some relationships with you. He's in new employee orientation right now. Otherwise, he'd be here with me.
Okay,
So that's it for the clerk's office.
all right. Well, now that's for a bond issue out there, right? That's Cuba
Yes, school bond, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. Okay, we're now on the claims journal. I will accept the motion on the claims journal.
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize payment of claims on the claims journal dated February 28th, 2023.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have personnel actions, 2 certification increases, 2 promotions, and 5 special salary adjustments. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve personnel actions as listed on the agenda and that the summary sheet remain on file in the Commissioner's office.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have anyone from the assessor's office here? No assessor. We have with us our distinguished treasurer, Ms. Bedmont.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Morning.
Commissioners. Priority for office right now is preparing for the tax deed hearing that will be before you in early April. This is a statutory process that we're required to follow when real property taxes are 3 years delinquent. So right now we're processing delinquencies for 2019 tax year. And I just bring this to your attention because we're taking extra steps at this time to call these taxpayers and letters to these taxpayers. Everything we can do to make sure, one, they're on notice, but then two, that we can work with them to hopefully arrange payment plan.
How many
or
are
options.
there?
Currently, we have 40.
40.
Yes, there's currently 40, but the hearing's not until the first week of April, I believe April 5th. So we expect that to,
Maybe that pared down a bit.
yes. So, but just wanted to bring it to your attention since, you might hear taxpayers reaching out to you, what we can do. So we're working with these taxpayers right now.
What kind of notifications are required to them so that you make sure that they actually get the notification?
Yeah, so the required notifications are sending by certified mail, return receipt, a notice of pending issue, and that states it itemizes the delinquent costs and late charge, the amounts, the notice of the hearing. So that is a certified mailing that we have to send. But they were also required to publish for 4 consecutive weeks in a newspaper. So that publication is happening right now in the Idaho Statesman.
And that's what's essential, what paper?
But we also generally go above and beyond based on what you've reported to try to get a hold of people other than what's required, correct?
That is correct. Take additional steps, phone calls, mail, whatever we can do. So that's, I just want to make you aware of that because it is a big priority, trying to pare that list down before we come before you in several weeks.
And what, basically, new kid, what is this is this in the tolerance? Is this what we usually get, and does it get pared down? What's the final that comes to us, numbers?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and Commissioner. Of course, it depends based on the year. I would expect that typically maybe 8 to 15 go to hearing, approximately. Yeah.
And then it gets pared down even more because it gets, as it gets closer to the sale date, people come in and help out.
Exactly.
Sometimes they're relatives or something, they can't do it.
Correct.
Not everyone is a house too, correct? Could just be a little slice of
Piece of
land.
land.
Correct. The majority are
Just
vacant parcels.
Little slivers of
Slivers.
land,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have next on the agenda the approval of minutes. I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes as identified on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, we have grant application to the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation for Recreational Boat Safety Fund to $35,331. County match is $17,000. Grant period 10/1 to 9/30/23. Is there anyone here to talk about this? Apparently not. I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the grant number 2302A, authorize the online completion and submission of the grant by the Sheriff's Office, and authorize the chair to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the board.
I'll second that.
Okay. You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, we have Expo Idaho with some 4 interim events. Is there anyone here to speak to them? If not, I will accept the motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 4 interim event agreements as listed on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
Should be noted there's a dog show on there.
And a Corgi Fest.
Nice.
Yes, a Corgi Fest. Oh, that sounds fun. All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, we have Parks and Waterways, Barber Park Education Event Center. We have one wedding. I'll accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the One Barber Park Education and Event Center agreement as listed on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I'll second that.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We have 3 agreements on the agenda. I've reviewed the agreements and find them acceptable. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 3 agreements as listed on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the appropriate documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next up, we have weekly indigent items. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendations of the indigent service staff as listed on the summary of cases dated February 28th, 2023, and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I'll second that.
Yeah, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Under miscellaneous business, we have a request for reconsideration by Intermax Tower LLC for project number 202-102-816. Is there any discussion on this request for reconsideration?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, maybe we could have Richard just summarize the winding tale that has brought us here today.
Well, we don't have that much time.
Yeah, I'll take out my notes. Yeah, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, this again is a reconsideration request. Essentially, if the board's your decision to uphold an appeal of an approval of a cell tower by Intermax, and it's the short version. There's been a long history. I think it started back in March of 2022 with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and went through many hearings.
We hired experts and all kinds of things, and went back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, then come back to here under a different to the board, and we anyway.
And Mr. Chairman,
And they're looking for a part of this is it purely administrative, because for them to advance forward in the courts, they have to have they have to request a rehearing, right?
Don't give them any hints.
Well, they know that. That's why they're doing it. Okay. Is there any further discussion?
No, Mr. Chair. So I did review the appeal, and I did not find any legal error that I think the board made, legal or factual error. It was a long and winding hearing, and so there was a lot to review there. But as far as the appeal goes, identifying any substantial error that the board made in their previous hearing, I didn't find anything substantial enough that, in my opinion, would warrant a reconsideration.
Okay, I'll accept a motion.
Just a comment as well. I've done the same as Commissioner Davidson, and I agree with him in terms of.
Well, and that would be one reason to grant the request for reconsideration is if we found something that was improper or we missed something, and I don't think we've done that. So, if there's a motion,
Mr. Chair, I'll move to deny the request for reconsideration for project number 202-102-816 as identified on the agenda.
I second the motion.
okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, next up under miscellaneous is the board received a petition from a group of citizens in Meridian calling for the dissolution of the library district. We are complying with the statutes and notice a public hearing on the petition for dissolution of the Meridian Library District. In compliance with Title 33, Chapter 27, Idaho Code, the Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing commencing at 6 p.m. on March the 20th, 2023, and continue until completion in the Commissioners' Public Hearing Room at 200 West Front Street, Boise, Idaho, for the purpose of receiving public comment on the petition for dissolution of the Meridian Library District. The hearing may be continued from March 20th and to the extent necessary may resume on March the 22nd in the Commissioners' Public Hearing Room at 200 West Front Street, Boise, Idaho at 6 p.m. Any resident elector within the proposed boundaries of the proposed district may appear and be heard in regard to A, the form of the petition, B, the genuineness of the signatures, the legality of the proceedings, and any other matters in regard to the dissolution of the library district. The hearing procedure shall follow Ada County Code, Chapter 14. Should a resident elector desire to submit a synopsis, argument, or other documents for the board's consideration, such documents must be submitted 5 days in advance of March the 20th, 2023. Documents may be submitted electronically to bocc1@adacounty.id.gov or by mail at 200 West Front Street, 3rd floor, Boise, Idaho 83702. The hearing will also be live streamed at the following address. I'm not going to say that. Published one time per. This will be published in the paper as required by law. It'll be published on the 6th and on the 13th, March 6th and on the 13th. Additionally, this will be sent to the library board. Is there any discussion or any further action necessary? We don't need to take action on this. This is just what the board is doing. That's compliance with the law. Any other discussion or anything? Okay, it's clear we're going to have a public hearing. We're going to accept any evidence that needs to be that people need to want to present on either side, but that needs to be presented to us in advance, 5 days in advance. Okay. Well, if there's no further action or discussion, this will be published in the paper and it'll be mailed to the library board. All right. Without any further ado, we are in recess. Good morning. It's February 28th. The time is 9:30. The Board of Commissioners, sitting as the Board of Emergency Medical Services District, is in session to conduct its weekly open business meeting. All three commissioners are present. We also have with us sitting at the table
Sean Rain, paramedics.
our head AMS guy.
Elizabeth Duncan, Communications.
And we have our chief IT guy as well. For the room you are. Okay. Is there any changes to the agenda, Madam Clerk?
No, there are not.
All right. We can I'll accept a motion in the Claims Journal dated February 28th, 2023.
Mr. Chair, I authorize payment of claims as listed on the Claims Journal dated February 28th, 2023 regarding EMS expenditures.
I second the motion.
Okay. You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We have 9 personnel actions. Is there a motion on the personnel actions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the personnel actions as listed on the agenda and that the summary sheet remain on file in the Commissioner's office.
I'll second that.
Thank you. You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
We have approval of the minutes for 2:14 and 2:21.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the minutes as identified on the agenda and authorize the chair to sign the documents on behalf of the board.
I second the motion.
You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right?
And now we have our famous EMS update.
Famous. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, good
And
morning.
we got your article in the,
Oh,
the
yeah.
paper there.
All right. Excellent. I didn't see that in the paper. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, and thanks for coming down to that
Yeah,
event.
for sure.
Commissioner,
It
that
was
was
nice.
great. That was a pretty neat event that we had last week. It was kind of an interesting story because one of the fire departments, they were checking hydrants and they stopped in at the shop where they had run a code blue, a few weeks prior, and asked what had happened to that person. They were like, "Oh, he's sitting in the back room." He was in cardiac arrest, and they did CPR on him. His coworkers shocked him a few times and got return of spontaneous circulation. He was back to work 10 days later. Kind of jokingly, his coworkers were saying that he wanted to be back at work on Monday. This happened on a Friday. But they said, "Why don't you take the rest of this week off?" So that was a great event. So again, thanks for coming down. Beyond that, my typical numbers that I give you guys for the influenza-like illnesses, it's actually crept up to 4.5, but I don't see a steep increase in the near future. We did have a sustained increase in wastewater data here a few weeks ago in January, but that has come back to be level again. And the predominant variant on that was XBB, one of the newer variants. I think there was one sample in mid-January where that was 100% of the sample was that one variant, and then the next week it had gone to an older variant was partially part of the report, and then the rest was XBB. So we'll keep an eye on that kind of thing, but even our numbers within the department right now, we kind of have the onesies, twosies of people going out that get sick, but doing okay with that. Outside of that, the SCR last week, the reason I wasn't here is we were sitting down at the State House and that passed on the Senate side. We had 9 no votes, 26 aye votes on that. And we're just waiting for it to go to House Health and Welfare now. So just kind of developing the strategy for testimony or not. Don't want to get in the way of a good motion down there, but so we're looking forward to that. And we've continued the work on the EMS Sustainability Task Force. We've broken up into different groups now to start identifying funding solutions, recruitment and retention solutions. So coming up with solutions to go into legislation for 2024. So
How's the statewide plan coming along?
I actually met with our planner, Tim Nowak, week before last, and they have kind of a standardized format of questions and data requests for everybody around the state. So that went well for us. He's now going to go out and meet with the fire departments. Took probably a good 15, 20 minutes to really get him to understand what we do here with access, because it's very different from what they do in other parts of the country. We're one of the few areas that have this big collaborative effort between fire and EMS agencies. And so he's going to be meeting with them. He's also responsible for Canyon County, Owyhee County. So he's got Elmore County. He's got a pretty big area to cover and a lot of people to talk to. But the real idea behind the planners, and I almost wish they hadn't called it planners, because really what they're supposed to do is just go out and identify the issues and the gaps that exist in each county so that you can come up with solutions. One thing that we found, even though Clark County is having the same issues we're having in Ada County, it's on such a different scale. Clark County ran 89 calls, we ran over 36,000. But we have similar issues. She can't recruit people over there. We're having a hard time doing that over here. They're all volunteer, you know, and we're certainly not in Ada County, but that's really what that group of people is supposed to go out and do. And the state did expand, and it was already appropriated in this year's budget. And I think that may have been part of the confusion down at the State House, because there was some contention about the $700,000 that would be spent on these planners. That was appropriated for this year, and they've already spent $600,000 of it. The other $100,000 is for administrative functions of working with the planners and that type of thing to get them all on the same sheet of music. But really, after they're done with that body of work, they should come back with a list of gaps that exist around the state for us to take those things that we're identifying, these different groups, and kind of match those up to the gaps to be able to come up with a good solution for the commissioners, because ultimately what we're asking is that the counties be responsible for coverage in their counties for EMS, which isn't the case now.
Right. Well, what about the Medicaid thing?
That's still moving forward. The public comment period still has about a month left on it. So everything, yeah,
You're not gonna
60
get the
days.
first quarter then?
No, we'll get it. They're going to submit the formal state plan somewhere around March 20th. So before the end of March, they got to put them on the clock at that point. So that continues to move forward. Haven't really run into any bumps there. I think everybody clearly understands what we're trying to do in the state. We'll just have to see if the legislature really does move forward with redoing the Medicare expansion, how that would impact that GMT number, because that will reduce the number of Medicaid patients that we see, which would reduce that amount of funding that we get. But don't know how significant that would be yet.
Okay. We have a couple of locations near in hospitals or near hospitals, don't we? Of our EMS.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have currently, St. Luke's provides us 3 facilities at, we're in a building that they're leasing right now. They're building a station in the main hospital downtown. Then St. Luke's Eagle, we have a facility out there, and then St. Luke's Meridian. St. Al's, we have a joint partnership where we pitched in, I believe it was $750,000. St. Al's pitched in 1.2. I might be a little bit off on those numbers for station at the St. Al's campus. It's on Liberty, there by the helipad, sort of.
So we paid a big share of it, and they paid some of it.
Yeah.
Okay, but St. Luke's actually just provided it to us. Okay.
We did make a tenant improvement on where we're currently at Medic 15, which is right next to Bannock Arms. It's that 13-story tower next to St. Luke's, the Children's Hospital. I think we spent $150,000. This is before I came back, but I believe it was $150,000 on a bay for the ambulance that's heated and cooled and that kind of thing. So outside of that, St. Luke's has not charged us for those facilities. So.
And we don't charge them when we bring customers.
We do not. We do not.
No. Okay. Well, I just have another question than anybody else, and that's, has Access Group had much more discussion on this Narcan thing?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I had a conversation with Chief Bloom week before last. He had a meeting last Friday with the mayor. The mayor is dead set on not allowing those leave-behind kits in the city of Meridian or in the Meridian Fire District, which he represents as part of Access. So what we're proposing is in the interim, what we're asking is if we could get a motion at the elected board that would specifically exempt the city and fire district of Meridian from the Narcan leave behind kit program, but then we would leave information back behind with the patient on how they could go to Walgreens or Rite Aid and pick one up. And I think that's the best we're going to do at this point. He is just absolutely opposed to leaving the leave behind kits in the city of Meridian. So
I wonder if you could leave one in the libraries.
Oh, boy. But the other thing that we're doing is Mark Babson is starting to schedule some appointments with, Sheriff Clifford, Chief Allen with Garden City, going around and meeting with the law enforcement agencies. That was a gap that we identified just to make sure that they're all on board with what we're trying to do so that we don't get any objection.
Well, yeah, it's clearly something that needs some education, obviously, because it's not encouragement of anything. It's,
Right.
It's a life-saving measure,
Yeah.
the way I look at it.
No, I totally, it absolutely is a life-saving measure. And I've said this several times, that a person is at their most vulnerable state, within
Right
72 hours of overdosing, so it's important that they have that kit there. So if they do it again, yeah. So,
I think at the next meeting, there board elections, is that right?
the next meeting will be board elections. So Elaine Clegg is off to the
VRT.
Valley, VRT, and so we'll need a new chair on Access. She's been the chair for, I think, about 8-9 years. I think Mayor Beater was the first chair, and I think she took over the year after that. So we've had her for quite a while. So those elections, and then of course we'll need a new vice chair and the whole 9 yards. So.
I wonder if that kid should be something you'd have on the bus, as you ever have emergencies on. Probably if we had more ridership, you'd have more emergencies, but.
I was gonna say, you have to have people.
Yeah.
Have people on those buses. Well, maybe
In big cities, they probably do.
maybe
Have those kits on there.
maybe Councilwoman Clegg can increase the ridership.
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows? All right. Any other discussion or issues?
I sent a note to you about IMSRU.
Oh, yeah.
Out of Mountain Search and Rescue. Just coordination, because I work Treasure Valley Givers, and we did a fundraiser for them.
Okay.
And they were expressing some, they wanted to coordinate better.
Okay.
Between what you do and what they do, their availability, because they're all volunteers.
Yeah.
And so, and they rely on, they have to be requested to be there by sheriff's officers, someone in authority.
Yeah.
And so if people call them, they have the difficulty of people calling them, expecting them to come, and when they say we can't come unless we're getting requested, the coordination of how they do that, how they make themselves available.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Daly, I know Hannah she's working on getting that schedule. I think it's sometime in April is the first availability the sheriff has.
Yeah, there's no urgency to it. It's just.
But yeah, we've worked with Idaho Mountain Search and Rescue on different things. We, of course, in Ada County, we have our own department has a high angle rescue team, and so does the Boise Fire Department. In fact, we're combining efforts, more integration, as opposed to doing two separate teams. Just have one team that is representative of the two agencies. But we don't do search. They have a lot of capabilities for, cadaver dogs and different things that we just don't specialize in. So we've utilized them for search operations in the past, and they are definitely experts in that kind of thing.
Yeah, they have some expertise. That it's just the coordination part, because they weren't complaining. It was just that they wanted to coordinate better so that they could actually provide services.
Okay.
Supplemental services.
Excellent.
Like I said, they weren't complaining about it. They just wanted to do a better job of coordinating.
Okay. Good.
Okay. Anything else we need to take up before we adjourn? Hearing none, we'll adjourn. We're in recess. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.